Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Kino. We're going to be doing a 30-minute yin class. We need a bolster for today's class, so have one handy. And if you don't have one handy, then feel welcome to use a sofa pillow or something like that at home. Okay, let's get started in a comfortable seated position. So let's close the eyes. Gently bring the hands together. A long deep breath in. As you exhale, let's rest the hands down. Begin with a few moments of mindfulness, tuning into the breath, letting the breath be natural, normal, and letting your mind gently arrive at the feeling of awareness and equanimity, as though the mind can settle in on awareness of the breath while remaining non-judgmental. Tune into the quality of your mind and your emotions, observing what frequency of thoughts and emotions are present as we start the practice. And then tune into the body. Notice the sensations and the feelings in the body. How the body feels, whether there's lots of energy or whether the body feels like it needs rest. And then carrying that awareness of breath, body, and mind into the practice. Allow yourself a long, deep breath in. And as you exhale, let's softly open the eyes. Let's get started on the hands and knees. So very gently, let's come on over to the hands and knees. Take a moment and get situated so that there's an equal distribution of weight between both sides of the body, the right side and the left side, and also between the front and the back. Good. Then we're going to begin with thread the needle. So pressing into the left hand, inhale, lift the right arm up. And then exhale, let's thread the needle under, so you can thread the right arm under. Take a moment, situate, extend the left arm overhead, and if it's comfortable, come up onto your fingertips. See if you can align the left arm with the left shoulder, if that feels good for you, all the way overhead. Yeah, that's good. Then close the eyes for a moment and see if you want to lean a little forward, which would put a little more weight in the shoulder. Or if you want to lean a little open, which would move a little more into the neck and the twisty sensation. Keep a light activation of the pelvic floor, even as you let the body kind of soften through all the contact points that the body makes with the ground. Observe the breath and the sensation of the breath. Observe the body and the sensations in the body. And observe the quality of the mind and the emotions. We'll be here for a little while, not too long, just a few breaths to let the body settle, let all the feelings and the sensations in the body just settle. Noticing the feeling in every joint, noticing the feeling in every muscle. Observing with a sense of awareness and equanimity, a sense of quiet introspection. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. Explore whether the breath feels better natural or whether the breath feels better consciously and deeply. Let's stay for about 3 more breaths. Two more breaths. And the last breath. That's good. On the next breath in, let's walk the left hand back. And then inhale, come back up to your hands and knees again. Take a moment and make sure the weight is evenly distributed. Good, then now we'll prepare to switch the sides. Inhale, lift the left arm up to create the space, that big open twist. And then exhale, thread the needle under and through. Bring your left arm through. If it's comfortable for you, extend the right arm overhead, coming up onto the fingertips. Then explore a little bit more forward, so there's weight in the shoulder. Then explore a little bit more open, so we feel more of the neck and the chest. And then allow yourself to find and settle into whichever one is better for you. Keep just enough activation in the pelvic floor so that the hips can travel gently back and up. And just enough activation in the right shoulder so that you can keep it in a nice external rotation. And then again, be aware of the quality of the breath, the quality of the sensations in the body, and the quality of the mind and the emotions. Allow the body to settle. Finding a resting point, a place of effortless stillness, so that the architecture of the body sort of balances. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths, not too long, but long enough to settle. You might want to make these last breaths long, conscious, and deep if you haven't already. Feel the body settle with each exhalation. 4 more breaths. 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. And the last breath. Good. On the next breath in, walk your right hand back. Gently press into the right hand. And inhale, we'll come back up to the hands and knees. Now let's prepare for puppy pose, and you're welcome to make it a little more gentle by placing the bolster underneath and then sliding the chest down on the bolster and coming a little forward. Or if you feel that the bolster is getting in your way, you can also remove it. Sometimes if you use the bolster, it can be kind of feeling like you want to bend your elbows or drop the head down. That's totally fine. If you don't feel that the bolster is useful for you, you can just roll it on out of the way and then explore puppy pose without the bolster, either with your forehead down or with the chest down. So find kind of what works, what's more relaxing, what's more supportive. Some of you may want to try placing the chest down. Once you settle in, then let the weight of the body release. opening through the shoulders. And with just the light activation in the pelvic floor to keep the hips back and up. Letting the weight of the body settle. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. Four more breaths. Three more breaths. Two more breaths. And on the last breath, slide your knees back. If you're on the bolster, let's turn it sideways. If you're not on the bolster, let's grab it and gently walk forward. So you can come forward onto the elbows for a moment and do kind of a supported cobra pose. So our first option is going to be to place the elbows right on the bolster, but our second option will be to slide the elbows down so we get more of a sense of release through the neck and the head. Depending on which version of puppy pose you did, there might be one that feels more like a compliment. Let the front body release. You could even explore letting the head completely drop down and extending the arms. Finding what's more comfortable for you. Maybe it is bending the elbows, or maybe it is extending the arms. So find your place where the front body can release, where there's no stress, no activation, just the feeling of the weight of the body releasing into the ground underneath you. Consciously aware of each breath in, consciously aware of each breath out. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths, so really settle in deeply for the last breaths. Find the end of every exhalation. 4 more breaths. Three more breaths. 2 more breaths. The last breath. On the next breath in, gently come up onto the elbows, releasing the head from the hands. Inhale again, come up onto the elbows, curl the toes under, press off of the bolster and move that over to the side. Let's round the back under for a moment and release the neck. Good. Then gently switch your gaze forward. Let's slide the right knee forward for pigeon pose. Now as we move into the pigeon pose, explore whether you're going to keep the knee bent and the knee pointing between the hands, or whether you want to lean over to the side and open your pigeon. It's going to be dependent on how your knee feels really. Right? Then let's come back to the center and push weight a little into the left side. And then now you can choose to bring the bolster back either underneath your right hip or forward so that you can rest on it. And then as you exhale, let's drop the head down. Good. Take a moment to settle, and if you need to wiggle around and find a slightly more comfortable place with the bolster or with the pigeon, take your time. Allow the body to settle, letting go of any need for a particular version of the posture, and just experiencing where the body wants to be right now, with whatever openness, with whatever tightness, with whatever sensations are present. Observe, accept. Cultivate a state of open awareness, a state of grounded awareness. Allow the mind to slowly enter the meditative state, a quiet space, an introspective space. Observe the sensations which are building with whatever pain, whatever pleasure, and let them be. Allow yourself these moments of non-doing, these moments of non-fixing. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. 4 more breaths. 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. And the last breath. On the next breath in, let's come up onto the elbows. And then let's inhale all the way up onto the hands. Drop over into the left hip and bend the right knee. And let's come up onto the hands and knees again. Gently rock the hips from side to side, feeling the inner space of the pelvis. And then let's prepare for the other side. Slide the left knee forward, sliding the right hip gently a little bit back. And then decide, let your body decide really, if you're going to stay here or you're going to lean over into the left hip and open the knee. When we open the knee, we get more into the hip, but this can compromise the knee slightly, so the hip must be open enough. Then let's come forward, supporting the left hip from underneath or placing the bolster out in front of us. And then as you exhale, let your weight drop down and keep dropping down. Drop into the hip. And then as you exhale, let's drop the head down. Allow yourself again a few moments to settle. A few moments where all the bones and muscles and tissues of the body kind of acclimate to the position and to the long hold. Cultivating the meditative state where the boundary between the conscious and the subconscious mind softens. Remain equanimous and aware, non-judgmental. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. So observe what sensations are building, what sensations have lessened. Follow each breath until its end. 4 more breaths. Gently encouraging the breath to lengthen and deepen. 3 more breaths. Two more breaths. And the last breath. Slowly on the next breath in, come up onto the elbows. Slowly again, walk gently up and lean back into the right hip. This time, let's slide the right side forward. You're going to sit forward, and we're going to do a supported forward fold. So let's find the bolster. Place the bolster on the thighs and sit there for a moment. If the object we're using is very small, you might want to put 2 of them or also use a blanket. Draw the object into the navel, then lift the ribs over. Take a moment and settle in through the hips. And then as you exhale again, let's rest the head down. Sometimes in this version, it feels maybe better to be symmetrical. So we could drop the head forward. Let the weight of the bolster hold your thighs. So you don't need to overactivate the legs. So if the feet open a little, it's okay. Just let them kind of rest wherever they rest. Taking a moment to kind of settle in. Observing all the sensations which are present in the body. Observing the quality of the mind and the emotions. Observing the breath, breath after breath. Maintaining a calm, equanimous mind, a meditative mind. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths, so settle in. Four more breaths. Give the whole weight of the body with each exhalation. Three more breaths. Two more breaths. And the last breath. On the next breath in, let's come up onto the elbows, coming halfway out of the forward folds. Then on the very next breath in, roll the bolster off, slide a little forward, and then shift the bolster behind you. We're moving now into Supta Baddha Konasana. If there are any issues with the knees, you might want to consider supporting the knees as well, but you can also explore just letting them be. So you can take the feet relatively close together. Then make sure that whatever object you're using, if the bolster is quite small or the pillow doesn't have a lot of support, place a blanket on top. And then lift over so that your sacrum kind of snuggles around the outside of the object. Take a moment and then drape your arms down by your sides. And if you need a moment to just kind of settle the thighs in, then take the time to settle the thighs in. And then allow yourself to release. And feel the support of the body. Feel the support underneath you. And let that experience be so that you can completely release, completely relax, and soften. Allowing the mind to drift off so that the borders of the conscious mind start to blur into the in-between space, the gray zone between the conscious and the subconscious mind. As we dive down into this space, it's like giving permission for the body to heal, giving permission for the mind to relax, and entering into a deep space, quiet space, introspective space. Maintaining a state of awareness and equanimity. Keep letting the mind drop deeper down within. Keep allowing the body to relax, to release, and enter this space of healing. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. So allow yourself to release a little bit more with each exhalation, finding the edges of the conscious mind. Four more breaths, releasing a little bit more, dropping a little bit deeper down. Three more breaths. Two more breaths. And the last breath. Slowly begin to move your feet and gently walk the feet out to lift the knees up. Then gently roll over to the left side just a little and slide the bolster away. Let's find constructive rest position for a moment with the sacrum on the ground and the knees spiraling in, hands either resting on the torso or resting anywhere that's comfortable for you. Just a few moments here as a very light counter stretch for the hips, letting the bones of the thighs settle, the thigh bones settle, the lower leg bones settle, all the bones in the ankles settle, letting the sacrum settle. And then extend your arms and legs. Let's lie completely down. Take rest. Maintaining a calm and equanimous mind, bring your attention back to the breath. Notice the feeling of the inflowing and the outgoing breath. Notice the sensations in the body and throughout the body. Observe the quality of your mind and your emotions. And maintaining that space on the next breath in, let's reawaken the body. Maybe some small movements through the hands and the feet. Maybe a little stretch that brings your awareness to every cell of the body. Then gently bending the knees all the way up into the chest for a little squeeze. A little gentle rock from side to side. Then roll over onto the side, releasing into the ground for a moment. And then let's inhale all the way back up. Find again your comfortable seated position. Reflect on breath, body, and mind. Observe the change in the inner atmosphere. Then gently bring your hands together, a long, deep breath in. As you exhale, softly open the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. May you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be filled with love.